Yo, what's up everybody? Holy Nice with you here, bringing you 7 Deadly Sins manga review. This is chapter 315, titled The Final War. This chapter of the 7 Deadly Sins, it was very hype, but at the same time, kind of nerve-wracking. And I'm going to explain later why, but it starts off real good. It starts off with that epic punch continuing. The Meliodas landed on his father, Demon King Zodorus, and he sent him flying to the sky, and he was like, so much anger and aggression. And then he replied, this world doesn't need a Demon King, not even one. What are you going to do when this world's gone? He was like, it's not. I'm going to, defeat you and save my brother and protect this world. And then he was like, what about me? And he was like, I'm going to kill you. And that kind of really pissed off the Demon King. So you got them going back and forth, scrapping it out and stuff, throwing hands. And as they throwing hands, the Demon King decides to pull one of the most cowardless moves in all of cowardlessness. Something that's very common, that's usually seen in movies and anime. He ends up sneaking behind Meliodas, and he grabs Elizabeth from the back and he puts his claws around her throat. And he threatens Meliodas, if you do anything, she dies. And then he replies to Meliodas, I can't believe you brung this bag of luggage with you. All she is a burden. You only brung her because you thought if she's with you, you can protect her from my curse which got reenacted when I came back. That was a foolish idea. And Meliodas, he didn't say nothing. He just looked at his father and smirked. And then we get Elizabeth laugh. Now her laugh was kind of funny. When you read the dialogue, there was something like pee. And I'm like, okay, who's this laugh coming from? And I looked in the panel, it was coming from Elizabeth. And the Demon King himself was like, what are you laughing at? And she turned around and she had this really, really sadistic smile. And she's like, I didn't come here to be a baggage, I came here to kill you. And she powered up and she used Arc. And she put him in it. And he was like, okay, what's the big deal? But then she started doing all these weird hand movements. And she started toying with him and just bing bonging him like he's a ping pong. And he got hurt pretty badly. And Meliodas' dialogue for us that, don't forget who you're facing. You're facing the daughter of the supreme deity. You do remember her name from the underworld, don't you? And then we get this cool panel which is gonna be in my thumbnail. It's called Bloodstain Elizabeth. And we see Elizabeth there in this epic pose with bloodstain on her from her enemies. And that's basically was her nickname back in the Holy War. And I'm like, that's cool, I'm gonna let that slide, because Mel and other people did state before that in the past she was a force to be reckoned with. Even though we already seen her in the side benches, but she has been built up to be this powerful, so I'm not gonna call BS or scream or complain about it. Cause I know a whole bunch of fans are gonna rant about that and say, oh, that's BS. She shouldn't have the power to compete. Why shouldn't she? She has her full memories back. She has her full angel powers back. Why shouldn't she? Should be OP as she was back in the Holy War. Yeah, she has a human body, but she still has her angel abilities at max. Her eyes are proof of that, so... And she's been built up by Meliodas a lot of times, so it's not like this is coming out of left field. But as that battle continues, we switch over to the north of Britannia, where we get the 7 Deadly Sins face to face with Indra. And Indra's there, and Deanna's freaking out because it's an oversized bug. And Indra does something very unique. His tail, which is like a stinger, it gets to pus up, and the tip of the stinger starts to bubble, like something inside is about to come out. And that starts to freak out Deanne. And the next thing we know, it shoots a ball into the air, and the ball bursts all over the field. And they thinking that it's probably poison spores. But thanks to, of course, as always, their Lord and Savior, Merlin, the woman who knows everything, she basically tells them, no, look at the spores. And it wasn't really spores. They was actually little baby Indras that looked like spores. So I'm like, okay. Interesting. Demon cockroaches or demon parasites. What can be worse than that, right? But yeah, now there's a whole bunch of them. And then we get the last part of the page, which this is where I'm ticked off at. and I know a lot of people are probably going to agree with this part being upset. Merlin tells Bond, well, since you're a lot different now than you were before, here, use this. You should be able to bring it out to your full power now. And Bond looked at it, he was like, really? You had it this whole time? And as you see on my other thumbnails, Bond got his sacred treasure back. And I'm like, really? Really? Over hundreds of years, over 315 chapters, after all these life and death battles, especially when Bond was catching L when he was the weakest of the Sins, you never gave him his sacred treasure, which you had apparently this whole time. All of a sudden, you're gonna give it to him now? And I'm like, this better be explained why. Like, Bond's sacred treasure better have something so broken that Merlin took it away from him so he would not be able to use it. Because it was so dangerous. Whether it's dangerous to the environment, the people around him, maybe himself, maybe all three, who knows. But this better be explained next week, because that was nerve-wracking. You had his sacred treasure the whole damn time and you ain't give it back until now? You know how useful that would have been when Bond was catching L's, fighting all those zombie skeletons? Or when he was fighting the 10 Commandments? Or when he went in alone to fight all 10 Commandments to save Mel? You know, those would have been some pretty good moments for you to give it back. I'm just saying, like, there has to be a really good explanation why you didn't give it to him. And did she also state that now that he's a lot stronger than he was before, he should be able to bring out his full potential? So I guess that indicates that maybe Bond wasn't able to use his full power of the weapon earlier. Maybe now that he's human and not immortal, maybe that was messing up with his sacred treasure. So maybe now that he's human, with godly powers, maybe now he can use it. Maybe that's what it is. Again, it has to be explained, because if not, it's just... But other than that end of the chapter was a pretty good, solid chapter. I would give it about a 7. I would have gave it like an 8 or 9. But just that Merlin stuff is just really, really nerve-wracking. Hopefully, you know, Nakama Sensei next week, hopefully he explains it well on why finally she gave it to him now. And how the heck did she even get it? If I'm not mistaken, it was taken from Bond when he got in prison. So the fact that she has it means that she must have stole it. But if she stole it for Bond, why didn't she give it back to Bond when she took it? And she waited this whole time. It just doesn't make sense. But again, that was a chapter. Really good chapter. The Merlin stuff was but everything else was like the Sins versus Indra and Meliodas and Elizabeth versus Demon King, Zeldaris. Everything was good. It was just that one part. But that's all I have for you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, share with your family and friends. Give this video a like. Follow me on Twitter, link me down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell, because YouTube is very, very iffy. So make sure you subscribe and you hit that notification bell. Tell me down below what you liked and didn't like about the chapter, and how you felt about Sacred Treasure of Bond getting it back, and the design and stuff, and the name. I'm not gonna pronounce the name because I know I'm gonna butcher it, so I'm not gonna bother pronouncing that long name. But tell me how you feel about it. Do you like the design? What do you think it's gonna do? What's your theory on why Merlin had it so long and she didn't give it back until now? Let's have some fun with this. But that's all I have for you guys. Peace out. Have a good one.